A voice comes from behind you. Hands up, you're in my crosshairs. You don't turn around. You just lift both hands, slow, steady. But how did you end up here? For that, we go back. Grab your coffee. Subscribe if you want. Let's start. You're the son of a retired soldier. Growing up, you heard his stories every night. Battles, brotherhood, the smell of gunpowder that never really leaves a man. You loved guns before you loved anything else. So when the time came, you finished school and applied for the army. Not just any post. You wanted to be a sniper. The day of the test arrives. At the door, your father's chest is puffed up with pride. Your mother's eyes are wet. You're her only son, and she knows exactly what the army takes from a mother. You reach the training camp. They measure your height. 5'9". Perfect. You look around and see boys from every corner of the country, and some of them are gone within the hour. Too short, too light, chest measurements that don't add up. You get assigned a room and a roommate. No mobile phones allowed. 2 beds, a clothes cupboard, a shelf of books. Nothing else. Your roommate introduces himself. John. Lights go off at exactly 9 p.m. You lie there thinking the same thing every recruit thinks. Wake up at 8, like always. Except there's no alarm here. Just an old clock on the wall, ticking, ticking, until you finally fall asleep. At 5 a.m. sharp, the lights snap back on. The door bangs open. A voice screams that you have 5 minutes to be standing on the ground. You move faster than you've ever moved in your life. 4 minutes flat, you're outside. One boy is 10 seconds late. He pays for it, hands up, heavy pack strapped to his back, 4 kilometers around the field, alone, while everyone watches. That's how the mornings start now. Running laps until your lungs burn, learning to march in step, boot hitting ground exactly when the boot beside you does, climbing walls that feel too tall, crawling on your stomach across gravel that tears at your elbows. By 4 p.m., the real training begins. How to hold a rifle, how to breathe with it, how to become still enough that the weapon feels like part of your arm. You're a sniper candidate. 10 others are pulled aside with you, and this is where it gets brutal. They lay you down behind a rifle. In front of you, a target swings left, then right, unpredictable. You have to track it through the scope without moving. A cup of water gets balanced on your head. You can't tilt it. You can't wipe the sweat crawling into your eyes. You have to count. How many times left? How many times right? While your neck locks up and your whole body screams to move. 5 boys quit on the first day. They get reassigned to regular infantry, no shame in it, just not built for this. You stay still. Half an hour of it, and somehow you don't spill a drop. Day 2. Same nightmare on repeat. Run, climb, crawl under live wires with your head down so low your chin drags the mud. Then back to the scope, the swinging target, the cup of water, except now they add 10 minutes to it. And somewhere in that second week, you meet her. She's not a recruit. She works in the camp infirmary, patching up the boys who tear their hands on the walls or twist an ankle on the gravel. Her name doesn't matter yet, only that the first time she wraps a bandage around your bleeding knuckles, she doesn't ask if it hurts. She just says, "Don't be a hero about it. It's going to hurt either way." And something about that, the bluntness, the way she doesn't baby you, sticks with you longer than the pain does. You start finding reasons to walk past the infirmary. She starts finding reasons to be there when you do. Neither of you says anything for weeks. That's not how it works in a place like this. But at night, lying under a clock you can't stop hearing, it's her voice you replay, not the drill sergeant's. Training keeps grinding forward. Stationary targets first, then moving ones, angles, wind, light. 3 months of it, your whole world narrowed down to breath and trigger. On the last day you march in formation, boots hitting the ground together, and in the crowd of families waiting, you find your parents' faces. After the parade, you go to them. Changed, hardened, a different person than the boy who walked in 3 months ago. Your mother's eyes are still wet. Some things don't change. But before you leave for your first posting, There's her. You finally say something, and she says something back, and it turns out she'd been waiting the whole 3 months for you to catch up. There's no long courtship in a life like this. You know what you want. She knows what she's signing up for, and you marry her before your first deployment papers even come through. Your father walks you both out the same door your mother once cried at. This time, she's smiling through the tears. Then Iraq. You're deployed alongside a unit of seasoned snipers, men who've done this longer than you've been alive in uniform. Your first real mission, an American family held by a terrorist cell in a village outside the city. Intelligence has already mapped the house. You're placed on a raised position outside the village while the rest of the team moves in on foot, dressed as civilians, closing in on the house itself. Your job is to cover them. There's a guard on the rooftop. You take the shot. No sound carries far enough to matter. No scream, just a man who was standing a second ago and isn't anymore. Target down. Then the guard in the backyard. Same result. Something settles in you, a kind of confidence you didn't have 3 months ago. The path is clear. Your team moves in through the gate. Window by window, you clear the angles they can't see, and the rest is close quarters work, not yours to finish. The family walks out alive. Good job, soldier. That's what they tell you. You don't know yet how far this is going to go. Word spreads fast in a war zone. After Iraq, after that first rescue, more missions come, one after another, and every single one ends the same way. Clean, quiet, nobody sees your face, nobody hears your name. Enemies start whispering about a shooter who's never been photographed, never been caught on camera, never left a single witness alive to describe him. They give you a name because they have nothing else to call you. Ghost. Not a compliment, not really an insult either, just a fact. You've become something men fear without a face to put on it. And that fear cuts both ways. Because now they're not just running from you. They're hunting you too. Back home, life keeps moving without you in it. Your wife writes letters, and later, when the base finally gets a satellite phone hooked up once a month, she calls. One of those calls, her voice is shaking, but it's not fear this time. She tells you she's pregnant. You want to fly home that second, but deployment doesn't work that way. Months pass. Then the day comes. She goes into labor, and you're pinned down in a compound 11 time zones away. Radio silence ordered. No way to even send word? By the time you get a satellite line, you have a son. You missed it. You missed the first cry, the first time she held him, all of it, while you were lying flat on a rooftop somewhere counting breaths between heartbeats. You hold the phone to your ear and you don't cry in front of your unit, but something in your chest cracks that night that never fully closes again. Then, a year after that, another call. This one from your mother. Your father, the man who stood at the door with his chest out with pride the day you left for training, has passed. A heart attack. Sudden. No warning. You beg for emergency leave and it doesn't come through in time. You miss that too. You miss burying the man who taught you everything you know about being a soldier, the man who never once got to see the medals stacking up in a box back home that he'd have worn like his own skin if he could. You carry that funeral in your head for the rest of your life, a funeral you were never actually at. This is the cost nobody puts in the recruitment posters. Every kill you make on that rooftop is a birthday you miss, an anniversary you miss, a father's last breath you miss. Ghost isn't just what they call you in the field. It's what you start becoming at home too. A name on a phone call, a photograph on a shelf, more legend than father, more myth than husband. Then comes the mission that almost ends you. You're attached to a unit again, deep in contested territory, an Iraqi army unit fighting alongside your own. It starts like every other engagement. You're on high ground, providing overwatch, picking off targets as the firefight opens up below. Your rifle does what it always does, clean, precise. But somewhere in the middle of it, you notice something wrong. One of your own soldiers drops, not from the direction of the enemy line you're watching, from somewhere else entirely. Then another one falls, and this time you catch the angle of it, the trajectory. There's another sniper out there, not one of yours, not one you can see. The enemy below finally breaks and retreats, disappearing back into the tree line, but the real threat hasn't moved an inch. Your side starts pulling back, dragging the wounded with them, and that second shooter has gone quiet. Not because the fight's over, but because he's not interested in random targets anymore. He's hunting something specific now. You realize, with a cold certainty settling into your stomach, that he's hunting you. Your commanding officer's voice crackles over the radio, ordering full withdrawal. You key your mic and whisper back, just loud enough to be heard. Leave me. Go. You're staying. You don't wait for an argument. You cut the channel and go still, exactly the way they trained you 3 months and a lifetime ago, exactly the way you held that cup of water on your head without spilling a drop. Hours pass. The sun drops. Daylight bleeds into dusk, dusk into full dark, and you don't move. Don't blink more than you have to, scanning the tree line meter by meter through your scope. Then, far off, a set of headlights cuts across the dirt road below, a vehicle passing through, its light sweeping the brush for just a second. And in that second, something catches the beam and throws it back. A glint. Glass. A scope, buried in the bushes, angled at exactly the position you're in. You don't hesitate. You fire. The round crosses the distance and punches straight through the enemy sniper's scope, through glass and steel, and out the other side of his skull. No second shot needed. Ghost against ghost, and only one of you walks away from that hillside. That kill earns you a medal, pinned on your chest in a ceremony you barely remember because your mind is somewhere else. Back home, where your son is old enough now to ask his mother questions about the father he barely knows. You've missed more of his life than you've been present for. The medal sits heavy on your chest that night, heavier than it should for a piece of metal. But pride has a short memory in this line of work, and the next mission doesn't go your way. It's a rescue operation again. One of your own men taken and held for ransom by an enemy cell, and your unit is moving in to get him back before a deadline the enemy has already set. You're positioned for overwatch, same as always, waiting for the signal to clear the approach. But something spooks you, a shift in a window, a shadow that moves wrong, and you fire a half-second too early. The wrong half-second. The man you hit isn't the guard you thought he was, and the shot alerts the whole compound before your team is anywhere near ready. Chaos breaks out immediately. The enemy knows they're under attack now, and they know it before your men are in position to do anything about it. 2 of your soldiers go down in the scramble that follows, and the man you came to rescue, the one already held captive, stays exactly where he is, still a prisoner, because the operation collapses before it ever really begins. Mission failed. 2 dead. 1 still in enemy hands. All because of a shot you fired a half-second too soon. You go home to face it. A military tribunal. Questions about judgment, about hesitation, about whether Ghost had finally made his first real mistake. Your record speaks for you in the end. Years of flawless service, more medals than most men earn in a lifetime, testimony after testimony about missions you'd carried on your own back. They clear you. No charges. Officially, you did nothing wrong that the record can prove. But you know what happened. You know 2 men are dead because your finger moved before your mind caught up, and no tribunal's verdict changes that math in your own head. Your commanding officer sits you down, tells you the army needs men like you, tells you 1 mistake doesn't erase a career like yours. You listen to every word of it. And then you resign anyway. He doesn't want to accept it. Argues with you for an hour, tells you you're one of the best he's ever commanded, tells you the door's always open if you change your mind. You shake his hand, and you walk out of that base for the last time, out of the only identity you've had since you were young enough to still be afraid of your own father's disappointment. Years go by after that. Real years, the ordinary kind. The kind with birthdays you actually attend, an anniversary you're finally home for, a son who grows from a boy who barely knew you into a man who understands, slowly. why his father was gone so much of his childhood, and forgives him for it, mostly the way sons do. Now you're 70 years old, sitting on a sofa in a house that's quiet except for the sound of a television somewhere down the hall. And you hear it, the soft, careful sound of small feet trying not to be heard, creeping up behind you. Most people wouldn't notice it at all, but you were trained for exactly this, a lifetime ago, to notice the smallest disturbance in a still room. You know exactly what's happening before it happens. A tiny voice behind you, trying to sound tough, presses a plastic toy gun into your back. Hands up. You smile, the same small, knowing smile you wore the very first time this happened to you for real, decades and 100 lifetimes ago. And slowly, gently, you lift both hands into the air. Your grandson laughs, delighted, convinced he's just captured the world's easiest target. He has no idea yet whose hands he's just raised. He has no idea he's just aimed a toy gun at Ghost.